Hey there, friend. Grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's dive into this wild ride through financial history together. I'm talking about something that hits right in the wallet, your savings, my savings, everyone's hard-earned cash. You know, the kind of story that makes you rethink that bank account balance staring back at you. Imagine this. A group of powerful folks huddle up in a cozy cabin, cut off from the world, and by the time they're done, the money in your pocket isn't quite what it used to be. It looks the same, sure, but it's like the heart's been ripped out. Sound familiar? That's exactly what happened back in 1971, and guess what? It's echoing loud and clear in 2025 with what's going down in Brazil. We're talking about the global money game getting flipped on its head to bail out empires that can't handle their own numbers. Stick with me here. I'm going to break it all down, step by step, like we're chatting at a backyard barbecue. No jargon overload, just straight talk with some eye-opening facts. And by the end, you'll see why this isn't just history, it's a wake-up call for your future. Let's start at the beginning, shall we? Picture August 13th, 1971. I'm not kidding when I say this was like a scene from a spy thriller, but with economists instead of secret agents. President Richard Nixon, along with heavy hitters like Paul Volcker, who'd later become Fed chairman, and Treasury Secretary John Connally, snuck off to the Aspen Lodge at Camp David in Maryland. Why the secrecy? Well, they weren't planning a weekend getaway. They literally had the phone lines disconnected, yanked the plugs right out to stop any leaks to Wall Street or foreign governments. Can you imagine? No calls, no distractions, just these guys in wood-paneled rooms sweating over the fate of the world's money. What were they up to? They were plotting a massive shift because the US was in deep trouble and they knew the public couldn't handle the truth just yet. You see, back then, the dollar was the rock star of currencies, thanks to the Bretton Woods system set up after World War II. It was backed by gold, real shiny gold, at a fixed rate of $35 per ounce. That meant other countries could trade their dollars for US gold if they wanted. It was like a promise, hey, this paper is as good as gold. But here's where it gets juicy. The US had been spending like there was no tomorrow, funding the Vietnam War, launching big social programs like the Great Society. They printed more dollars than they had gold to back. By that fateful Friday, the math was brutal. The US had about $10.2 billion in gold stashed away. Sounds like a lot, right? But foreign banks and holders had over $40 billion in dollar claims. Do the quick calc with me. That's a 400% insolvency ratio. If everyone cashed in at once, we'd be out of gold before you could say, bank run. What sparked the panic? Countries like Britain and France weren't buying the hype anymore. The British ambassador politely asked to swap $3 billion for gold. Boom, that'd wipe out nearly a third of our reserves. The French, they went full drama, sending a warship to New York to load up their gold and sail it home. Classic. These nations saw the US was living beyond its means, printing money to cover deficits. It was the ultimate, exorbitant privilege. We could borrow cheap because everyone needed dollars. But by 1971, trust was crumbling. Nixon's crew wasn't debating if they'd default, it was how to spin it. While regular folks like you and me were kicking back watching TV, these guys were rewriting the rules of money. This was the first shock, a sneaky pivot that turned the dollar into pure paper, kicking off decades of inflation that nibbles away at savings like a sneaky mouse in the pantry. Fast forward to today, well, 2025, and it's like déjà vu but with a twist. The vibes from that Camp David hideout are buzzing again at the BRICS summit in Rio de Janeiro. BRICS, if you're new to it, stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and now it's plus, with additions like Indonesia, Iran, and the UAE. These aren't small players. Together, they pack 37% of global GDP in purchasing power terms. In July 2025, their leaders met not in secret woods, but in the open, sunny vibes of Brazil. And what they're signaling, the world's done playing by US rules. The phones might not be literally cut, but the connections to the old dollar system sure are fraying. This is the second shock, where instead of the US ditching the world is ditching the US to protect itself from our messy math. Let me paint the picture with numbers, because facts don't lie. In 1971, that 400% insolvency was a red flag. Today, the US debt is skyrocketing past $38 trillion. Yeah, trillion with a T. It's like owing more on your credit card than you can ever pay, but on a national scale. Central banks worldwide are noticing, and for the first time since 1996, their gold holdings have surpassed U.S. Treasuries in value. We're talking 36,344 tons of gold. The IMF's COFER data for Q2 2025 shows the dollar's slice of global reserves dipping to 56.32%. That's erosion, my friend, not a cliff dive yet, but a steady slide. Why? Because nations are tired of swapping real stuff, like oil, grains, minerals, for dollars we print endlessly to fund our deficits. Remember that exorbitant privilege? It's turning into an exorbitant headache. In the 1970s, after Nixon's move, gold shot up from $35 to $850 an ounce in just 10 years, a whopping 2,300% jump. That wasn't gold getting pricier, it was the dollar getting cheaper. Fast forward, and gold's breaching $4,000 in late 2025. Nations are repatriating their metric tons vanished from London vaults in 1 month. It's like everyone's grabbing their life jackets before the ship sinks. Now let's break down the timeline of this second shock, phase by phase, so you can see how it's unfolding right under our noses. Think of it as a movie plot, but this one's real and affects your retirement fund. First phase, the default. That's the 1971 original US cuts the gold tie to dodge its bills. The world had no choice but to accept paper dollars, and boom, savings started eroding. Inflation kicked in, turning $1 into pennies over time. Ever wonder why your grandparents talk about buying a house for $20,000? That's why. Second phase, the wall. We're in 2025 now. US tariffs spike 146% to $216.7 billion. The admin slapping 60% duties on imports using emergency powers. It's like building a moat around the dollar, turning it into an island currency. Protectionism, baby, echoes of the 1930s smoot-hawley mess that worsened the Depression. Why? To force buy American and prop up the economy, but it risks trade wars that hurt everyone, including you, at the gas pump. Third phase, the mutiny, late 2025 into 2026. Gold soaring, vaults are emptying as countries pull their assets home. Trust in the global ledger, gone. Saudi Arabia's ditching the petrodollar. After 50 years of all $4 deals, they're settling in local currencies via the Enbridge project. That's huge. No more artificial demand for dollars means our currency's value drops, inflation rises, and your savings, poof, less buying power. Fourth phase, the reset. Come 2026, enter the unit, a blockchain-based, gold-anchored digital tool for settlements. The East BRICS folks is building a parallel system, coding out the dollar's dominance. It's like upgrading from an old flip phone to a smartphone, but for money. No more US privilege. Everyone's on equal footing with hard assets backing trades. Hugh, that's a lot, right? But let's make it personal. Imagine you're planning for retirement. You've socked away cash in a bank, maybe some stocks. But if inflation ramps up like post-1971, that nest egg shrinks. What if your dollar buys half as much in 10 years? Scary? Yeah, that's why this matters. Now for the lessons, because history isn't just facts, it's a guidebook. First up, the rule of gold. Gold isn't just bling, it's the only asset that's nobody's liability. Stocks could crash, bonds, governments might default. Bank money, it's a promise from folks who print it. Gold, it's physical, eternal. That's why it's the ultimate inflation hedge. Think about it, during crises, people flock to gold. Post-1971, it surged. In 2025, central banks are buying it like candy, front-running the reset. Second, the jurisdictional hedge. Smart money's moving out of paper into bars. Why keep wealth in a system that's wobbling? Nations are repatriating gold to avoid freezes or seizures, like what happened in some geopolitical spats. For you, diversify, don't put all eggs in one basket. Third, your exit strategy. Don't just watch fiscal policy headlines. Dig deeper. Consider physical gold via Trusted Pro, maybe a gold IRA for tax perks. It's not about getting rich quick, it's preserving what you've built. Consult a finance expert. I'm not one just sharing the story, but think, before the exits jam up, secure your spot. Let's zoom out with some real-world spice. Take quotes from the players. Nixon said on TV, "I am today ordering a freeze on all prices and wages throughout the United States." Sounds helpful, but it masked the gold dump. Connolly quipped to Europeans, "The dollar is our currency, but it's your problem." Ouch, fast forward, BRICS leaders in Rio are basically saying, "Not our problem anymore." Add analogies. The 1971 shock was like cutting the anchor on a boat, sudden drift. 2025, the crew's jumping ship to a sturdier vessel. Or think of money like a pizza. Gold-backed is a full pie. Fiat is slices that keep getting smaller as more guests, printed dollars, show up. To engage you more, let's play What If. What if the US hadn't ditched gold in 71, maybe less inflation, but tighter budgets, no endless wars or programs? What if BRICS fully launches the unit in 2026? Dollar weakens, imports cost more, but gold holders thrive. How about you? If gold hits $5,000, are you positioned? Expand on Saudi's shift. For 50 years, oil sales in dollars propped us up. Now with Embridge, a cross-border payment system, they're trading in yuan, rupees, whatever. Iran, UAE joining, that's energy giants saying bye to dollar hegemony. Data, oil trades in non-dollars up 20% in 2025 per reports. Mori on tariffs, 60% on Chinese goods. That's phones, clothes, your shopping cart gets pricier, but it aims to boost US jobs. Trade-off, global slowdown. Historical parallel, 1930s tariffs deepened the depression. Gold migration, 151 tons from London. That's nations like Turkey, Hungary pulling home. Why? Fear of Western sanctions, like Russia's frozen assets. Lesson, control your wealth. Blockchain unit, it's not crypto hype. It's stable, gold-linked for trade. BRICS testing it efficient, no middlemen. Could sideline SWIFT, US-controlled payments. Personal touch, I remember my grandpa complaining about 70s inflation, gas lines, 15% rates. Don't let that be your story, act smart. Resources, check Federal Reserve's Nixon Shock page, National Archives on Executive Order 11615, IMF COFER data, BRICS portal, JP Morgan gold forecasts. Educate yourself. In wrapping up, wait, we're not done yet, let's chat more. This isn't doom and gloom, it's empowerment. By understanding 1971's betrayal and 2025's mutiny, you can protect your savings. Buy gold, sure, but wisely, physical, stored safe. Talk to pros about wealth preservation, trusts, even blockchain assets. The world's changing, be ahead. Question for you, what's your plan if dollars lose steam? Share in comments, let's discuss. Disclaimer, this is education and fun, not advice. Do your homework, consult experts. Past events don't predict future, but they rhyme.